My name is Rodrigo Soto. I'm a pediatric cardiac surgeon, and I did my training as a surgeon, as a pediatric surgeon in Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, Australia. And then I did a fellowship in France, in Paris, for a year. I was lucky enough to then be back in Melbourne as a consultant for a few years working at the Children's Hospital, which was a fantastic opportunity. And also was at that time when I started doing humanitarian medicine, started doing mission trips on pediatric cardiac surgery. So I started doing that as a volunteer. So I was donating, basically, like many of the guys that are working with me here now in Bucharest. I was donating 2 weeks of a year every year, and I did that for around 10 years. And it was the most gratifying thing that I was doing at that time. Honestly, I was at that time I was working in Melbourne. Then I was working in a private hospital back home, and having everything that you need to do this, including supplies, great infrastructure, everything. But interestingly, of the 52 weeks of the year, I was waiting for those 2 weeks because it was so rewarding and it was so much what I really want to do. Because when you start doing this, there's many beautiful things that you learn and you get to know. First, you learn how to think outside the box, how I can do this without the same resources that I have available at home. And at the same time, that I think that somehow make you a better surgeon. And on the other hand, you also have the opportunity to meet fantastic people, really cool, nice, intelligent, given people. So can you imagine during 10 years of volunteer and met, dozens of that kind of people. Many of them are today my close friends. So those two things make the whole experience something that was very unique. And at the same time, when you are in those sites, you know that basically for them you are the only hope. You are the only person that can have the expertise that can help them. Because even though we go there to train the locals, it takes a long time to do so. Therefore, during a long period of time, we are basically the only source of assistance or help for those families. Eventually, the local teams can take care of them. So, all those things make the experience, those 2 weeks of the year, really fascinating and really rewarding for me. Then after 10 years of being a volunteer, I somehow was invited to become full-time with another organization, which I was working with for 4 or 5 years. And then that was a huge change in my life, because basically, in front of me was the opportunity to say, okay, should I do this that I love so much as a full-time, or should I continue doing, on a part-time basis, every time that I can, and continue with my formal job as a surgeon. So there was a lot of pros and cons of each situation. But if you take away a little bit comfort, finances, and everything, you said, you know what, I should do what my heart is telling me to do, which is go for, humanitarian medicine, because it's something that I know there's not many surgeons lined up for a job like this, but for any other job, it will be a lot of surgeons lined up for, right? So I think that many times, I think that when you're in life, you talk with somebody or you're talking to your friends, and you know, when you say, you know, those whales that are dying with plastic in their stomachs, right? You say, oh, somebody should do something, you know, we should do something, or somebody should take care of that, or whatever. But then you go, you know, to, you know, Starbucks and get a plastic bag, a plastic cup, you know, with a straw, and go to the supermarket, get it. So, you know what I mean? So this stage in your life in when you said, you know what, there's a problem there, and I'm gonna take care of that problem. I'm not gonna let other people to actually do it for me, and just saying that, oh, I really care about that, but I mean, you really care, you do this, you know. It's like, you know, all the guys from my team here, I mean, they care about it because they sacrifice, you know, coming, you know, a long way here to Romania to help these kids and so on. So yeah, I felt that was the right thing to do. So it was a huge jump. Most of my friends thought that I was absolutely crazy. Yeah, here I am. So for the last 4 or 5 years working with an organization was a very good experience for me, because actually one thing is to do this as a volunteer, another one is to do it full time, and basically being responsible for everything that is happening within the training visit. Not only just come over and play the surgeon role, but also, you know, supervising, organizing, and keeping, you know, the team together, and many other aspects that are part of being responsible for the whole trip. Also during the last few years, I have been very lucky to, you know more of these fantastic volunteers, but also been able to meet another people that made the same decision that I made, that they decided that humanitarian medicine is something that they want to do as a full-time. And then I got into meeting fantastic people from many other NGOs that are working the same field that I do. And one of those organizations is Give for Life International, and its CEO Rob Rollman. And we've been working, you know, together for over 3 years, and we have somehow developed a very good relationship from the perspective that we have different strengths, each of us, that can actually develop pretty well. If you merge those strengths, it creates, you know, a very, very nice, well-organized, efficient structure. And that is what is happening now in 2019, which since the beginning of the year, we've been discussing, you know, how we can work together and how we can actually make what we do that is already good even better. And that's how the idea came, you know, for me to join Give for Life International and work, you know, with Rob Rollman and so on. And so since May 1st, that's what I've been doing. And to be honest, that the relationship and everything, it's not changing much, because we were already partners on this thing, but now we're under the same umbrella. And I think that this is big. I think that this is something that it will actually bring Give for Life to a level that not many other organizations that do this kind of job is at the moment. I think that we, you know, in the next few years, we will evolve in a very comprehensive and sophisticated organization that is capable of delivering the care and that these children need. And also we will be able to, you know, fulfill our dream, which is, you know, help these sites to actually develop their own capacity to do what they do. And I think that that's a huge difference between us and many other organizations that are doing something like this, at least in the same field, but in a different way. The empowering of the locals to do what we do, I think that makes a huge difference. And we truly believe that that's the way in which you really change the problems of the low and middle income countries in the planet. Otherwise, if you maintain the dependency of those countries with developing nations or another NGOs, they will never be able to take care of their own issues, and therefore this is going to be basically an endless situation, and we don't want that. We want to become obsolete. You know, as soon as you don't need us to be there, fantastic, because that means that we actually fulfill our job, our commitment, and we complete our job. And that is success. When you don't need me anymore, it means that I succeed. So that's the reason why I joined Give for Life International, and I'm looking forward a very long-term relationship and a prosperous one.